Hi guys, it's Mike Callahan from Four Leaf Properties. This is our fourth video in our series for manufactured housing development. I wanted to talk today about one of the biggest challenges that we ever faced in a property that we were recently working on a development for. And I think it highlights that notion that I mentioned earlier in one of the other videos about everybody thinking they have a unicorn development, a unicorn property. We hear this all the time. Folks think that they have like the perfect opportunity for us. And the reality is we get into it and there's all sorts of unknowns, and as time goes on, we learn an awful lot. This particular property, I'm actually going to show you a picture because it just sort of picture tells 1,000 words. We had a great 400 unit property. We were told that this is a prior PUD. All we had to do was get manufactured housing approval, which wasn't going to be difficult in Florida, that we had water and sewer right next door. Everything about this property looked great. Well, we came to find out shortly thereafter that although we had water and sewer next door, no one had tested the pressure of any of those systems recently, and in fact, the municipality didn't even have records of how they had constructed those systems up to that point. So while we could sit there and practically touch the water, we couldn't in fact use any of it because we didn't know what the pressure was associated with it. We ended up going through many months of testing. We had to actually get an engineer involved to re-engineer some of that, create the actual plans for how we got to this point, reconstruct them really. And then we had to go about pressure testing both of those systems, only to find out that in fact, in some cases, the pressures weren't as good as what we thought. And so suddenly our 400 units got shrunk down to 200 because we only had services for 200, not for 400. That was the first challenge. The next challenge was we went from this beautiful picture of 400. We got a geotechnical test that showed us that everywhere in red was in fact a soil condition, a heavy clay condition that would not be suitable for building. This land, as it turns out, was previously owned by a very large American corporation who had in fact moved some of this dirt around over the years and created some real challenges for us. And we found out that in fact that land was unbuildable. So now we go from 400 units down to something much less based upon the utilities, and now something much less based upon this geotechnical testing. By the way, this entire process took over 2 years. It cost multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars between us and the seller, and we haven't solved it yet. But I use it as an example of, this looks unicorn on the surface. It looked awfully good, and now here we are running through the challenges of development. So don't be surprised if you run into the same. It's sort of, part and parcel to what we're involved in this world today. You just got to fight through it, and if this isn't the right one, we move on to the next one. Thanks.